A couple days ago, I talked about the announcement of Trisha Paytas guest starring on Keemstar's podcast Mom's Basement, and Ethan Klein's negative reaction to it. Now, the podcast has come out, and Ethan Klein has responded to it. But before we get into that, there were a couple more tweets that I didn't cover leading up to that. This first one is from Ethan, who says, Gabby Hanna messaged me immediately after Frenemies broke up, trying to get on the podcast. I knew it would be an interesting show with lots of views to be had, but I didn't even respond to her, and still haven't. Some things you just don't do. I would never do that to Trisha. Gabby Hanna responds to Ethan by saying, I didn't message you immediately after Frenemies broke up. I messaged immediately after I put out the evidence of the lies you and Trisha spread on Frenemies. Still would like the opportunity to defend myself on the platform I was harassed and slandered on, please. Moving on to Keemstar's Twitter feed, he talks about Ethan when he says, Ethan has tried to convince his fanbase that he never tried to get me deplatformed. Read the title of his own videos. Showing a video Ethan made 11 months ago titled, Should Keemstar be deplatformed? Keemstar then shows a sneak peek of the podcast that also includes some video footage that is not present in the final version as it's audio only. Here is that clip.
I guess everyone looks heavier on it. Maybe the way you sit. He lost weight?
He's had his little fat boy stages. I go through them too, but like he's skinny right now.
Yeah.
You know what I did? I did keto for a while and lost it gradually, which was good. I'm glad I did that. But like recently, I've just been like raging and just eating like once a day, and you know.
Because you're happier in a new relationship now.
Yes.
So
she's right there. Look at it.
Oh wait, really?
Yeah. She's not a child. Look.
Oh my gosh.
That's
she's a real person.
How did that get blown? Okay, anyways,
There's
of all.
no chains on her. She's not handcuffed to the couch. She's chilling.
Hi, nice to meet you. No. First of all, how did that change in a week from I'm not posting her?
Keemstar continues tweeting about the situation when he says, I don't understand why anyone would give Trisha Paytas hate for coming on Mom's Basement to confront me and my opposing views. Unlike Ethan versus Crowder, Trisha had the balls to sit across me face to face, have a chat. More people on the internet need to be fearless with debate. The Cookin' Mama quote tweets Scheme and says, because you did it for clout. I don't care what Trisha Paytas has to say. You just hate Ethan that much. Because when Frenemies was in its prime, it literally killed you. This has nothing to do with points of view. It's just trash. Keemstar quote tweets her and says, I do everything for clout. It's literally my job. I'm a YouTuber, you brain dead drone. He then makes a Twitter video titled, Dear Ethan Klein.
Dear Ethan Klein, I understand that you're very upset right now, very angry, and you want revenge. I know, because when you attacked me and said a bunch of horrible stuff that wasn't true, and, you know, trying to ruin my reputation, you tried to tell everyone that I was an asshole when I already have a reputation for being an asshole. I don't know why you thought that would ever work, because it hasn't. Everyone knows I'm an asshole. They're still subscribed, they're still watching, they're still following. Such a bad play. I don't know if you even had an option to win. From the very beginning, there was never an out for you. I guess ignore, but that's not who you are. You can't ignore. I did though. I just sat in the back and kept quiet, and you got frustrated that you weren't getting the results that you wanted. So you kept pushing it farther and farther and farther to the point where you're breaking YouTube's terms of service. I mean, it was funny to watch. But I don't see a W for you. I really don't. We're at the point now where you're in trouble with YouTube. Your family, like your actual family, is fighting with each other, and they're breaking up over a beef between me and you. I don't see any win for you. This is the third and final offer. I'm offering peace. There's no point. It's quite exhausting, really. It's been a lot of fun this week, but it's quite exhausting. But I fully intend to play this game to the absolute end if you don't make peace. And I will be the last one standing, without a shadow of doubt. This is what I do for a living. Drama, fighting. This is my sport. This is my video game. And I'm a fucking MLG pro.
After those tweets, the Mom's Basement episode with Trisha Paytas finally releases, and along with the release of it, Keemstar makes a Twitter video to reflect on the conversations he had, and to update his audience on his new thoughts regarding the topic of sexual assault. Here is what he says.
Good afternoon, Twitter. During this vacation, I've taken some time to meet up and have conversations with victims of sexual assault and rape and all that types of stuff. There's a disconnect for me. in some of the scenarios. And that's why I was asking questions on Twitter a couple months ago about, is it possible to be like orally raped? Like, can't you get away? Like, stuff like that. You know, I'm a fighter, right? So from my perspective, it's like, you fight, like you get away, you run. And I wanted to better understand this. And that's why I was asking questions. And, you know, the way the internet is, the cancel culture, fucking, you know, the hate that comes from asking a question like that online immediately put me on the defense and really blocked a lot of really healthy conversations I should have been having. But even online, I don't think it would have been as effective as it has been recently, having these in real life conversations with these victims. One thing I couldn't understand or grasp is the whole freeze aspect of it. Like, you know, assault was happening, I froze up. I literally couldn't move. Like, that is so foreign to me. But to hear that over and over again, having these in real life conversations with sexual assault victims, it's something I truly believe happens now. And I guess I do understand it. It's hard, you know, being a guy and like putting yourself in that shoes, and it's hard. But to hear it and to see and like, you know, having this conversation online, I wouldn't have been able to like authentically believe someone like I would in real life. You know, you see the emotions in their eyes and you hear these stories, and I feel very foolish. And I totally understand why I got so much hate for asking questions. I totally get that.
Austin Castle responds to Keem by saying, "Were you in a coma since you were 12? How are you almost 40 and just realizing rape bad? What the fuck is wrong with you?" Keemstar quote tweets him and says, "Laughing my fucking ass off. Perfect example why no one can have real convos on the internet about such serious topics. You and the rest of clown world." He then makes another Twitter video titled, "Stop treating Trisha Paytas like property owned by Ethan Klein."
You know, something doesn't sit well with me, and it's been bothering me for a couple days, and I want to speak on it. Trisha Paytas coming on Mom's Basement, there was a reaction from the T community, the T channels, and many of them are saying this is such a huge betrayal, and how could Trisha do this? And, you know, you get the sense that they're talking about Trisha Paytas like she's property. Like she's property owned by Ethan. And how dare Ethan's property, you know, go and betray, like it's so disgusting. I mean, the two of them were on a podcast and they broke up. Is Trisha not free to go on any show she wants? I mean, the reaction and how they treat her like a piece of meat is just so fucking disgusting to me. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. I don't get it. You know, you think about like a relationship, like a dating relationship. If you break up with someone, but you're now single, but you're dating someone else, you're betraying your ex-boyfriend or ex-girlfriend. Like, what is this? You know, for such a woke social justice warrior, you know, community like the T channel claims to be, I find it so insane to treat Trisha Paytas like a piece of property owned by Ethan Klein. Absolutely disgusting in 2021.
Now that all of those tweets are out of the way, let's finally take a look at Ethan's reaction to the release of the Mom's Basement podcast with Trisha Paytas. Here is what he says.
So we got suspended, and then suddenly Trisha Paytas was collaborating with Keemstar. I'll be honest with you guys, when I saw that she followed him on Twitter and then Keemstar was making a whole big deal, I was like, there's no way she's actually going to go on the podcast. Like, that's beneath even her. Sure enough, during our suspension, because of Keemstar, widely known that it was Keemstar that did it. I mean, he took credit for it. It's not even in dispute. Keemstar posted this photo of her at their podcast, and then Keemstar grinning, flipping me off, and Trisha wearing a Frenemies hoodie. This is betrayal on a whole new level. I mean, this is an unforgivable, traitorous act. And I'm going to explain in great detail why. And I'm going to be totally honest with you guys. Part of me wanted to take the high road on this and just ignore it. But at the same time, I'm so sick of her disrespecting me and my family and causing shit and just being so toxic, lying. I was so close to privating all the frenemies because I was like, I'm still paying her. I just sent her like a huge amount of money. And so her response, by the way, to my one tweet that's saying I'm sad, she made 27 TikToks about me. She made a 42-minute video about me and 23 tweets about me saying I'm playing the victim, I'm lying, I'm this and that, I run a cult and all my fans are harassing her. It's like, girl, all I said was that I was sad. Did you really not expect me to be upset about this? Her total responses tallied to 51 responses to my one tweet. And come on, let's not ignore the timing of it. I get suspended. Keemstar takes credit for it. 2 hours later, she follows him on Twitter, and they're plotting this podcast. Let's not mince words. She's clearly doing this to hurt me. And I did, you know? And Keemstar's obviously happy enough to use her in his pawn. And so just to show how happy Trisha is to be used by Keemstar in his perverted little game of trying to upset me, W's. I go, this makes me sad. And Keemstar goes, W's and more W's. Dude, how perverted and twisted. Like, is it a W that you're like messing with my family? I guess, if you're really sick in the head. It's, of course, my mom said, can't wait to go to the wedding, not. I was like, okay, oh, Jesus, Mom. Look, my mom's been on Twitter for like a week. She doesn't know what she's doing. She's not used, her tweets usually get 0 likes.
Also, that seems like a very tame response in terms of a mom.
Can't wait to go to her wedding, not. Yeah, it's pretty funny, I'll be honest. Ethan's mother now refusing to go to Trisha's wedding because she came on my podcast. The W is too big. So here's Keemstar celebrating an actual riff in my family because of him. Deadass feel bad for Trisha now, but at least she knows that Ethan and his family never cared for her. They just used her for content. Okay. Not sure how you're drawing that conclusion. We definitely all cared about her. Until she made about 200 videos about me, calling me a liar. Grab your popcorn. We just getting started, Keemstar. And so she knows, by the way, that Keemstar's just doing this to piss me off. It's obvious based on this tweet that he put out right after she followed him. So she cannot feign ignorance like, oh, I'm just going there to have a conversation. No, you're being there to be a useful idiot to Keemstar to try to cause problems in my family. It's creepy and weird. Trisha makes about 1 billion videos trying to defend herself, talking about how she loves conversation. She just free speech, dude. Conversation, marketplace of ideas. All of a sudden, Trisha's a First Amendment warrior who just wants to enter the marketplace of ideas. Like, what? Where did this come from? I've literally never heard her talk like that. Except the problem with Trisha is that she can't keep track of her own bullshit. So you've got Marketplace of Ideas, Trisha. I'm just here for have a conversation. Here's Trisha a few months ago.
And quite frankly, I do not believe the alleged victim. And I don't want to...
She even be allowed on YouTube. Like, I will never say that about any channel except for this. Like, you know what I mean? I don't think any other channel should be banned off YouTube except for literally Keemstar.
What? She wants to deplatform Keemstar because he said he doesn't believe Jake Paul's accuser. I mean, what a hypocrite. What a immoral. She has no beliefs in anything.
He then plays the sneak peek that I showed you guys earlier in the video. I'm going to skip this part for the sake of brevity.
Dude, there's so much to unpack in this clip. Why do you think Keemstar posted this clip to tease the podcast? Could it be because Moses is on the couch and he wanted to rock the boat that way? Is it because his 20-year-old girlfriend that Trisha just ripped into him a week ago is sitting right there next to Moses and everyone's just happy-go-lucky? And Trisha literally says, how did this story get blown out of proportion? Girl, what? What? How did this story get so blown out of proportion? Backtrack 1 week ago. Go ahead,
playing
Trisha,
Daniel Keem, then you're an actual creep in real life. Like, you are actually a real life perv, a real life just creep, just evil, just nasty, just a nasty old man that's like hurting this girl in ways that she may not know, but you know.
Guys, what do I say about this? God, how did it get so blown out of proportion? Who? But she's like, there's nothing wrong with that relationship. Now that I see you and I'm too cowardly to call you out for it. You coward. Spineless. She is so spineless. I watched the podcast. Let me give you a synopsis. You can watch plenty of cuts of it online. Did Trisha challenge Keemstar on dating the 20-year-old girlfriend? No. Did she challenge him on being an R-word apologist? No. Did she challenge him on saying mental health illnesses don't exist and people just do it for attention? No, she did not. Did she challenge Keemstar on bullying people and using them for entertainment up until the point that they break or even unalive themselves? She did not even mention any of those points. Did she challenge him on getting my channel suspended? No. Did she challenge him on falsely accusing people of being a P-word and ruining people's lives? She did not. What you'll find in the podcast is them circle jerking about what a piece of shit I am for 30 minutes. Just take it from Keemstar himself, who did the No Jumper podcast like the next day. And he listened to how Keemstar described it.
What was discussed?
We talked about so many topics and like just bang, bang all over the place. And we ended up bashing Ethan a lot. You know, Ethan has some flaws.
That's how I felt.
You know,
we've
all experienced them firsthand. Ethan and Banks have had beef. Trisha and Ethan have had beef. Obviously, me and Ethan have beef. And so that was the one
Bro, can I, like, what are you doing with your life, Keemstar? Look at those glasses.
I mentioned it to my YouTube rep. I'm like, can you do this stuff on YouTube? And he's like, no, I don't think so.
Here he is.
So then it got age restricted. And I was like,
here he is admitting to getting our Keemstar puppet sketch age restricted, by the way.
Man. I want to roast this guy, but I can't because YouTube won't let me. But he can say, I got a little dick, fuck puppets. Like, what is this?
By the way, Keemstar's lying. He can say whatever he wants about me. He just can't stand the fucking heat. He tried to ruin my life as many times as possible. It didn't work. And now he's got nothing to say about me. So we shit on him all we want. He can't say anything. So now he's crying. Oh, YouTube doesn't let me talk about him. You're a fucking liar. Because guess what? I'm still sitting here calling you a piece of shit. That you are a horrible person. And I'm never going to stop calling you out because YouTube never told me don't talk about Keemstar. I mean, you're lying. You just can't stand the heat, bro. You can't stand that I have a little puppet about you. My biggest criticism of FaZe Blanks is that he's friends with Keemstar, if I'm being honest. And that is a huge criticism. You could be MLK, but if you're friends with Keem, then you're ML...
L. For the L.
ML hell.
Like the L.
MLK. M taking the LK. Yeah, pretty much.
I still get so much hate from his audience. Like literally, it's not even that severe.
So my audience is your audience too. Trisha's got this weird thing where she thinks that all the hate she's getting is just H3 fans. I hate to break it to you, Trisha, but I think they're mostly your fans that are become disillusioned with you.
I've reached out to Ethan twice on Twitter to make peace because our beef is so fucking deep, right? That it's exhausting, right? And I wanted to just stop it so many different fucking times. He's not interested. Like, he wants me deplatformed.
Yeah. Well, it's like, I don't negotiate with terrorists. You know, there's a reason for that. You know what I mean? It's like, why would I sit across from you and validate you as a human being? You are irredeemable scum. You are the worst person on this platform by far. And yes, he's had like 4 channels that have all been banned. He should not have a platform on YouTube. But apparently Keemstar thinks I shouldn't have a platform because as far as I'm aware, he's got 1 video age restricted, he got me a 1-week suspension, and I've done nothing to him as far as crying to YouTube goes. Fucking baby.
The difference being action, where, you know, you're saying you don't think he deserves it, but there's no public.
He deserves it, but what is that? I go, yeah, he deserves it, but like, what is me saying he deserves it do? I don't control policy.
Where he's publicly putting out videos tagging the CEO of YouTube. And
he goes, mommy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I could predict that he would likely say that the whole saga where he lost a bunch of sponsors because of the videos that you made would be his retort. But that really is different because you just criticized him and then people reacted versus crying to YouTube.
Whole thing, by the way, which Keemstar has done his whole career going after people's sponsors.
Sure.
So like, okay, dude, whatever the fuck. But that whole thing, I was like, how is G Fuel sponsoring this guy? He's got a can of G Fuel while he's like slandering, falsely accusing people of being P-words. I just found it pretty ironic. I wasn't like, go email G Fuel. If G Fuel wants to pull their sponsor from Keemstar because he's a piece of shit, you know, that's probably a good idea on their part.
His argument and that whole situation boiled down to 2 things: was that you are for deplatforming and that you want people to lose sponsors, which both have been shown on his end.
Proven.
Shout out to Comment Cop.
And on my part, not prove. I mean, you could say that me bringing a notice to nobody cares. I don't give a fuck. Keemstar, you're so irrelevant to me. He thinks that we have this beef. It's like, I just don't like you, bro, and I shit on you every chance because everyone else is like afraid of you for good reasons because you're such a psychopath. And listen, I've gone through the pain of you trying to dig out every skeleton in my closet and doing the best you can, and now I have like this beautiful freedom to just shit on you you endlessly, which I take full advantage of. I mean, I don't think about you more than that, bro. And so Keemstar obviously has these actual absolutely nuclear takes about mental health that I can't even show without getting yellowed. And Trisha knows all this. So she goes on the podcast, right? She goes, oh, Keemstar's changed. We had a great conversation. This is his tweet from August 7th. This is a man who's now enlightened about mental health. He says, and this is about me, okay? I'm loving this W streak. While my enemies are on antidepressants, going to therapy, and gaining so much weight, they're about to lose their left foot to diabetes. Stay mad and fat. What's wrong with being on antidepressants and going to therapy and being fat? Is that really a critique of someone's character? And then there's the other point that Trisha keeps bringing up that I want to address here now, so I can just be done with this shit, is she keeps talking about the final episode of Frenemies.
The lost episode.
That clears her of everything. If only you guys saw this episode, you would understand. So the story with this final episode was that I was feeling bad about how everything had gone down. I was feeling bad about the rift that it had caused in the family and everything, and I wanted to make amends. And in my heart, I thought, what would be great is if we could just come together for one final episode, for it to be just a beautiful experience where we just reflect on the nice experience we have and part ways amicably. As soon as we sat down, basically almost immediately, it just went sideways. It just went off the rails. It just turned into more accusations, and it just got really icky. And honestly, it got to a point where I just really wanted it to end. I was very uncomfortable. I was regretting my decision to have them over. It's really not worth going up. It's just going to make everything worse. This whole claim that like I had never apologized. I admitted in my first video about Trisha leaving Frenemies that I messed up in showing the crew the text. Once again, in the first video. This is where maybe I fucked up, okay? Is that I was talking to the crew like, Trisha wants to, I was like, listen, Trisha wants to hire a new crew. I shouldn't have sent the screenshot to them. I agree. I lean on the crew for a lot of things. So like, I usually tell them everything. So her big gotcha moment is that she said she wanted to hire more people to work on Frenemies. She had been bitching about the crew, saying they did a horrible job, that the bus tour we did was horrible, that they're super unprofessional. And I sent that screenshot to the crew, which I should not have done. That was not cool of me to do, I admit. I think there was a misinterpretation that we're like, oh, she wants to fire everyone. And then a lot of the crew was uncomfortable being like, well, if she wants to fire us, then it's just weird that we're going to go there and pretend like there's nothing wrong. Okay, so then when I told Trisha, it's so stupid. I hate it. Then Trisha goes, well, if the crew's uncomfortable, then I fucking quit and I hate them and I want to fire everybody. I'm not comfortable with all of them. So she wanted to fire everybody, but it was after the misunderstanding of her saying she wanted to hire more people. Am I getting that right?
Yes, that was essentially what was discussed on the podcast, and that's what I think the big gotcha that she thinks exists in that episode is.
But I don't know why it's a big gotcha, because she wanted explicitly in the messages, she posted our whole conversation to Twitter. She's talking about how she wants to hire new people and replace the crew. So, I mean, again, I always have said that she didn't explicitly say she wanted to fire everyone. She basically just set everything up into and around that. You know, and I'll be honest, there was another aspect to the whole last episode, is that like they secretly recorded us, which was like kind of devastating to me, that they came into the house, secretly recorded our conversations before and after the podcast and during, and have basically been I'm going to say threatening, but like the thing is, I don't care if they release it. So it's not like a threat. I don't know why they think it's such a big deal. It's just a messy episode. But I guess in their mind, they think they've been threatening us with like, well, we recorded it. Here it is. We're going to release it. I'm listening to it back. It's like.
And also, if I'm not mistaken, one of your final deciding factors was the fact that the audience, like they had that Reddit up, like it was like 43,000 upvotes saying that please don't release the episode. Just let this.
Dude, it wasn't good for anything. It wasn't good for anything. I saw there's someone who reported this, someone who made a TikTok and then everybody reported it, that I liked a TikTok of Moses showing the wounds from when Trisha punched him. And I never liked that, but here it is. I just want to make that clear that I never liked that.
To have
for whatever
be like,
it's
oh,
worth.
you have to be loyal to Ethan. When he's liking those posts, like they screenshot it. He's liking those posts. That's really, and then throwing it back in my face. All the stuff that I try to work through, because last year, drug-induced, unmedicated, just a mess.
How about don't make excuses anymore for your shitty behavior? How about that? Or just stop.
I don't know if people know this, but when Keemstar was a teenager, he was arrested for arson.
That's like some intel. Like, where'd you get that one?
It was a deep cut, man.
So how do we know this is about Keemstar?
Well, so it's somebody named Daniel M. Keene.
Mm-hmm.
He was 24 in 2006, matches up with Keem's age. It was in Arcade, New York, which is just outside of Buffalo, New York.
Okay. Police arrest Daniel M. Keene, 24, and his homie Dustin, charging them with arson in the 5th degree and criminal trespassing in the 3rd degree. Charges stem after Wellsville police reported seeing smoke coming from the bathrooms within the Lagoon recreation area. Upon further investigations, it was discovered that the two subjects were lighting fireworks within the bathroom and caused some damage to the bathroom. After a short foot pursuit, he ran from the police.
Ran from the cops.
The two were caught and brought to the station where they were processed and held pending their arraignment in the morning.
Keem is fast as fuck, but he wasn't fast enough that day.
So those are all the major points brought up by Ethan in his podcast, but that was about a 15-minute cut of an almost 2-hour podcast, so there's a lot of extra stuff I cut out, most of which being Ethan pointing out various examples of Trisha's hypocrisy. One that I found very interesting was her lying about the situation around getting her dog, and of course there are other parts of the podcast that I didn't show that are quite interesting as well. So if you want to see everything, I highly recommend you watch the full podcast, which I will leave the link to in the description below, and the end cards, which will come up soon, because that's about it for this video. Before you go, if you could leave a like and subscribe, I would appreciate that, and also give your thoughts on this whole thing in the comment section below. There's a lot of different points and opinions now that both sides have had a chance to speak, so I would love to hear what your opinion is in the comment section below. If you want to hear my opinion, you can follow me on Twitter or subscribe to my second channel, as I do live streams over there frequently where I talk about my opinions on drama. Anyways, I'd also like to thank my channel members for supporting the channel, in particular Scrubby, who has donated $100 a month. But with all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in another video. I'm a simple man. I wake up in the morning and I want to read tweets, but I've often ran into a couple hurdles, mostly involving my PC. Something doesn't work correctly, I need to buy a new part, I don't know how to put it together, the cables are all jumbled. All I do is read tweets. I'm not the smartest man in the world, which is why I just asked Meta to make me a PC. They're this cool company with a lot of history in the custom PC community, and they've optimized the purchasing process of buying a PC to the point where even a simple-minded person like me can buy one and use it straight out of the box. With the wide variety of parts they have available, you can pretty much build any type of PC, whether it be a lower budget one or a super high-end one. So if you're in the market for a new PC, I highly recommend going to metapcs.com and using code BOBLAX at checkout. That way you can save money and support my channel. But I know what you guys really want to see. You want to see the tweet reading machine that MetaPC's made for me. I present to you my package. My big old package. So here's me unboxing the PC and the specs. I was able to get the hard-to-find RTX 380, an AMD Ryzen 7 588X 8-core processor, MSI motherboard, a bunch of memory, and the best part for someone like me, a lot of storage. With my old hard drives in addition to the new ones that MetaPCs gave me, I have enough storage to store every Keemstar tweet about 5 times over. Also, the PC was packaged super nicely, to the point where I had a lot of trouble actually getting it out of the box. And most importantly, it looks cool! Look at this! If you don't join me in getting a Meta PC, you're frankly just retarded.